Hypothetical question. What if a Christian wants to get a tattoo? A lot of believers have tattoos, but everything I've researched said it's against God. What then? The only verse in the entire Bible that says anything about tattoos is Leviticus 19:28, which says, "Do not cut your bodies for the dead or put tattoo marks on yourselves. I am the Lord." That's very important. Anytime you read the Bible, you do not take a verse out of context. If you just read like one verse in a certain spot, then it's probably just going to lead to confusion. You have to read the entire book itself, one of the 66 books. Read the entire thing, or else it's just going to get taken out of context and just lead to confusion. So, read the entire book if you're going to quote a verse. With that said, now Christians will still argue with this verse and say that's why we can't get tattoos because of Leviticus 19:28. The problem I have with that is, I mean, if you just look at the surrounding verses, it'll say things like how you should cut your hair and you shouldn't wear clothing woven of two kinds of material. If you look at what's going on in context of this, this is when God is taking the Jews out of slavery from the Egyptians, and he's saying that they should live separate lives and not live like the pagans. So clearly this is more of a cultural thing with like the hair cutting and the clothing woven of two kinds of material. So that's why I don't think you should just use this one verse and say that's why we can't get tattoos. You need to put it into context and see what's going on. Some people also argue that your body is a temple and you should respect it because the Holy Spirit's living in it, which I would agree with. But they'll also say like you can't change it, and when you say you can't change your body, that's getting extremely controversial, because if you're changing your body, then you can't trim your nails, you can't cut your hair, you can't put on makeup because that's changing the body that God gave you. You can't get ear piercings. And then people say like tattoos are permanent, so that's why you can't get them. But the thing is, like, tattoos can be removed, and it doesn't say anywhere in the Bible that you shouldn't get anything done that's not permanent. It doesn't say anything about that, and it's, you know, people are adding on rules into the Bible that it doesn't say anything like that. So don't add parts of the Bible either. Now, the best verses I can give you with the New Testament, because the New Testament doesn't say anything on this specifically. Mark 7:14-23 is very applicable. I'm only going to read verses 14 and 15 now. It says, "Again Jesus called the crowd to him and said, 'Listen to me, everyone, and understand this. Nothing outside a person can defile them by going into them. Rather, it is what comes out of a person that defiles them.'" And with this, Jesus is teaching, like, it's not the people you hang around, it's not the music you listen to that's, you know, gonna make you a sinner. It's what comes out of you. It's the words that come out of your mouth. It's the actions that you choose to make. That's when it becomes sin. And with the tattoo thing, that applies here. I guess the most important thing to check is your motive when you're getting a tattoo. And if you're doing it to rebel against your parents, then you're disobeying God's law. If you do it if you're under 18, then you're breaking the laws of man, which is breaking the laws of God. We're learning about that in Romans. So if you're looking for a justifiable motive, I mean, whenever I see people and they've got like tattoos in other languages or something, that always gets me like asking, you know, what's that tattoo say? Obviously I can't understand it, and then they explain it, and like you could kind of use that as a witness if you think about it, like, because it always draws my attention, and I know it does to other people too. So I mean, if you've got like something like a Bible verse in another language or something, then, you know, it's gonna start conversation, and then you can use that as a witness. And I mean, I do not see how God could possibly object to that. To like, if you're not even going to start a conversation with somebody, but they come up to you and start talking to you about it, I mean, cool. That's I don't see where God's going to disagree with that at all. So, you know, the most important thing, check your motive, because you can sin by motive. And on top of that, I'm just going to say, I want you guys to live like wise lives. So, you know, be careful not to like get a big tattoo on your face, or, you know, careful if you're getting them on your hands or your neck or whatever, because employers will like see that when you walk in for an interview or something. I mean, I'm not saying that they should judge you automatically because you've got a tattoo that they can see automatically, but you will be judged by that. So be careful, be smart about it. Like I said, it's not permanent, but for the most part, it's going to be there. So be smart.